Hey, Medicine Man here. When we're through hiking, we're trying to get from point A to point B relatively quickly. And because of that, we're trying to get good gear, decent gear, lightweight gear, multi-use items. And so I'm going to talk about knives right now. You want to bring a knife that can do the jobs that you want it to do. One thing that you do not want to do is you don't want to bring a big old knife like this. Mainly because this is 13 ounces and we don't have to go ramboing through the woods. It's basically all established trail, so this is it's a waste of weight. It's going to be in a hiker box really soon, or you're going to mail it home. And it's basically, for a knife like this on the PCT, it's mainly ego. Don't bring your ego. The one thing I really suggest you do not get is something like a box cutter. All a box cutter is a razor blade on a little metal frame. They break, they get dull incredibly fast, and honestly, out of everything here, that's the most dangerous, I think. Okay, if you're averse to really bringing any larger kind of knife, bring a Swiss Army knife. It'll do every kitchen chore, every first aid chore you need to do. It's got tweezers, a little toothpick, and it'll do everything you need to do, and it works great. You don't need to bring a larger knife if you don't want to. Larger knives are bigger, they are bulkier, they're heavier. If you're really into saving weight and you just really don't want to bring a bigger knife, little Swiss Army knife with the scissors and a single blade for $20 is really your thing to bring. What I brought on the trail last year. Okay, change in perspective so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I started with the trail with this. At Warner Springs, I picked this up, and later on, I changed that folding knife to that folding knife. Why? Doesn't really matter. I got the scissors because I was doing a huge amount of first aid issues, and I was doing a lot of cutting of gauze and bandages and tape and doing first aid items for this, and scissors just worked. I kept this all through my hike, but the perspective is this. Where I grew up in hiking, where I learned how to hike, it was driven into you, and let you have one knife for all your kitchen duties, your food preparation, your first aid, anything that might go on your hands or in your mouth, or keeping your food preparation items clean or prepared or whatever. This knife is mainly for food preparation and first aid. It's got self-assist opening, single opening, so if I'm holding something, or if I'm holding something down, or if I'm trying to do something with this hand and I can't really let go, I can open this knife up and do what I need to do. Whether it's just hold something down or cut some tape or whatever, this knife will be able to do it. Never ever let this thing work in the dirt, whittle wood, play with it. My training from years and years ago is never allow your food prep and first aid knives, your implement, to be used for anything else. That's what this is for. Now, for a thru hiker, this is much harder to it's much harder to explain. Basically, it's a multi-use tool. Something that's not related to first aid or food prep or keeping my cooking stuff clean. I do this. Wood processing, if I'm going to have a fire, I get kindling with this. I make feather sticks with this. I do all this. The other thing I do with this, which really, for 4 ounces total, here, put this back. For 4 ounces total, I use this as my digging tool. Everybody else brings a deuce of spades. Well, you can only use deuce of spades for one thing, and then you might have to bring something else. So I bring this for digging my cat holes, and I bring it for all my wood processing and all my chores that come around that don't fit the requirement of food or first aid. And that's why I bring this. Believe it or not, if you take the knife, a sheath knife, and you dig your cat hole backwards, you'll never dull your blade. If you have to dig through some turf or something like this, then you turn it around and it works fine. But then you turn the blade around again and you dig your cat hole. It works for me. If you want to do some spades, more power to you. I'm not trying to say this is the way to go. It's the way I was trained when I had black hair and there's black and white TV and everything else. This is what I use in this. This year when I'm out there, you guys are going to see me. I'm changing this guy out. Mainly because I can get this tool and that tool, and they're the same weight as this one. The advantage is I can get rid of this scissors, this knife, because this tool has, aside from a pair of pliers, it's got a pair of scissors on it. And what's most important on this tool, if I don't drop it, most important on this tool, it's got a bottle opener. I like that. I'm going to get a little bit more multi-use out of this. I'm not going to have to carry this heavy weight. I can carry this one, still can open it with one hand, and I have a little bit more versatility. For the same way, I just want to bring this, a little Swiss Army knife, that's great. If you just want to bring this, which is a two-blade knife, bring it, doesn't matter. As long as you bring a knife, that's good for first aid and food processing. This is a little touchy subject. If people think, or if someone thinks that they need to bring a knife for personal protection, the decision is absolutely bring a knife for personal protection if you feel you need to. Don't let anybody say it's not a good idea. Some of the things you should look for a self-protection knife is almost always it's going to be happening fast. You're not going to have time to take a knife and open it up with two hands. You're not going to open this up. You're not going to have enough grip with this knife with such a small blade to do any good for self-defense. A self-defense knife you need to be able to open with one hand as you're fending off whatever you got to fend off. That's the heartache. Will it ever happen? I really don't think so. But if you think you need a self-defense knife, you need something like this. A neck knife. I don't have one. I have a gag gift that somebody gave me. Now if you have a neck knife has to be out. You can't put it inside your shirt, because if you're fending off something, how are you going to get to that thing fast? I mean really fast. Your brain's not going to be thinking, oh, I have to reach under my t-shirt or shirt or whatever. You're fending this off and you're just going to be going like that. If you have a neck knife, wear it outside. Nobody in the hiking community is going to go, oh, look. If you have to fend somebody off, you got a neck knife, you can just yank it out and you can use. Again, will it happen like that? No. I seriously doubt anything like that's going to happen. But if you think you need for self-defense, that's some things to think about. I bring these three, like I said, and I gave the reasons for it. Don't bring a box cutter with a razor blade. Razor blades, they get dull and they break, and out of all of them here, that's the most dangerous. Same. Oh, leave your ego at home. Brief couple of minutes on flashlights. If you're through hiking, you want to keep your weight down, you want to have the best light you can for the lightest weight, I get that. That's why you would never use an antique 2-pound light like this. But you can buy a $5 hardware store light. This light came from a package of 5 for $1 at a discount store, and it's great for anything you need to do in or around your tent real close. This is a tactical light. It's really bright. And it's got different settings, and I use it around my ranch because there's a lot of stuff I need to do for the ranch work. I don't bring this hiking. I bring my headlamp like everybody else does. You don't have to. I saw people bringing these. It works great. If you don't intend to hike at night, you don't intend to do any real distances at night, get one of these. $5 for $1. Get one of these for $5. Takes AAA batteries and it'll do you fine. If you're gonna hike at night, there's an issue called night blindness. When you flash somebody bright white, everybody knows this, you get spots in front of your eyes, your pupils contract. Get a headlamp that shines red, that has a red light. Get one that's a bright red light because there's different intensities. Make sure that you have one that will dim and get brighter. And use the night light, use the red light for all your night hiking, or for night hiking when you have to. For safety, obviously, use the white light if you have to. But if you're going to be running into people, opposing people coming down, or if you're going to be walking and talking to people, flashing somebody with your flashlight in their eyes is not going to be appreciated. You're not going to be real popular on trail. Running a white light also destroys your peripheral vision. You'll have straight line vision for yards and yards. 30, 40, 50 feet and all that little numbers they tell you. But you'll have no peripheral vision. You might have 20 or 30 degrees of vision and everything else is dark. What we used to say is the dark gets darker with a white light. That's why, because your peripheral vision, it'll all close in on you. It'll make it look darker than you think. If you use a red light, none of that happens. You'll be able to see as well here as on the sides, for as far as the red light would go. And you'll be able to keep your peripheral vision going. I recommend get a red light that's going to be dimmable. Get a red light you can turn off, turn on. I'm going to be replacing this because for me, this red light is just too dim. And I'm going to get one with more intensity on it. Just for my night hiking. Most of you all understand what I'm talking about. This is just for somebody who doesn't normally carry a pocket knife that maybe should, or a small knife that should. Flashing a white light versus you hiking with a red light at night. That's all this was for. I hope it helped, and hope to see you out there, and hike well, be well.